Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host, and this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. So this time, I thought just for fun, I reached in to a box and grabbed a fistful of comics to show you, and guess what? I've done an episode on all of these books before, about 2 years ago. But I thought you might appreciate seeing them again briefly, and you might see something that interests you, and then go back and watch the episode on that particular book or subject. Okay? So we're going to start off. This is from 1967. These are all, I think, Silver and Bronze Age. No, with, even that one's probably late Bronze Age. Okay. With, from DC Comics, Unbelievable Strange Adventures. Number 204, said 1967. Stop shooting, you fools! I'm not a monster! I'm as human as you are! The Crazy Quilt Man. In Strange Adventures, this is some weird stuff. Usually did weird things, and but they were normally on a science fiction basis. There's some weird stories, and this what this is as well. Various things. Instant trips, instant danger, some weird stuff. Interesting. Doesn't have no credits, so I don't know. Uh-oh. Some of my stuff is falling down here. And story of that one, and then The Crazy Quilt Man. Ooh. He's weird looking. Looks like maybe they were going to... Well, for crying out loud, everything is falling down. Like everything, like maybe they were going to try him out for some kind of unusual superhero. You never can tell. Then here we have, from Charlton Comics, this was, I think in 1975, Space War, number 32. And this is, if I remember correctly, actually a reprint from an earlier issue. I'm not positive. Yeah, I reprinted some from 1967. And this, what's unusual, because Space War was normally an anthology. And this is, I think it still is, but all the stories are linked together, if I remember correctly. And this is Children of Doom, probably George Waldman. Does it give editor Dick Giordano? Oh, Sergius O'Shaughnessy wrote it with all art by Pat Boyette. And there's one thing that I don't know how it got past the how it got past the editors, and I was going to say how it got past the Comics Code Authority, because normally the Charlton stuff was, well, this isn't either. I'm surprised because it doesn't have the Comics Code stamp on it. Because look right at that cover, and tell me you see what I see. When I covered this book, I said the same thing. I showed it to my wife. She caught it instantly because you can't miss it. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's all Pat Boyette goodness. When I was a kid, I was not thrilled with Pat Boyette's art, but as I got older, I grew to appreciate his art. He was an excellent draftsman. He just had a unusual and slightly stiff. Stiffness to his style, but in later years I grew to just love his work. I always thought, well, I wouldn't have not read anything because of him, because I just didn't appreciate his work as much. Then here is still from Charlton, as Doomsday Plus One number 9, which is actually a reprint from from an earlier issue. And this was it Nicola Cuddy did the writing? Wrote this? I believe. Does it give... Joe Gill. Joe Gill wrote it, and John Byrne drew it. This is from 35. This is also 75, I think. 76. And Doomsday Plus One was one of John Byrne's first professional comic art jobs for any of the major publishers. And I really love his art style back then. He did Raj 3000 and Raj 2000 and some other stuff. And I just love his, and I still like his work today. But you can see through the years how his style has morphed, but it's still all clearly John Byrne. His style has changed, but is similar enough to be the same. But I just really, especially back then, I really liked his style here, especially on the robots. Then we have the New York City Outlaws, number 1 and number 4. I did an episode on them a couple years ago, and the guys at the Power Comics channel have got together with a publisher and the creators, and have recently reprinted in a collection all of the New York City Outlaws books. Now this is from Outlaw Comics. A very small publisher. He basically worked out of the I guess it was the pizza place that he lived and worked at, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, and it was drawn by Ken Landgraf. Who was the writer? Steve Capellonis as publisher. Was he the writer? I can't remember. Yeah, he created it. So yeah, with art by Ken Landgraf. Now, of course, I talked about Ken Landgraf at the time, and I recently mentioned him again just a week or so ago when I showing some stuff that had his artwork in it in Superman Family, when he was doing the Nightwing and Flamebird stories in Superman Family. And and this is just a few years after that, and it also contains a lot of the ads, and he did a lot of the ads too. The ads were for specifically New York based businesses, and I don't know how much distribution this got. Maybe it was just originally for the New York area, and these are from 1984. And Ken Landgraf has his own YouTube channel, so I encourage you to go there and check out his stuff. And he had assisted some with Wally Wood and Gil Kane, and he learned an awful lot from them. And he still talks about them all the time, and you can see their influence. A lot of Wally Wood influence, a lot of Gil Kane influence, as well as Jim Steranko and I suddenly can't think of his name. Paul Giusi? Is that who? Did Shang-Chi Master of Kung Fu for a while. I can't think of his name. Anyway, Paul Gulacy, that's it, Paul Gulacy. And that's some really, and this is some really fun reading. Then here is, this is not Bronze Age at all, but it's an imitation of Silver Age. Tales of the Uncanny, Book 3 from Image Comics, and it was part of the 1963 series that they did. All duplicated. And this is from 90s. 93. Had all written by Alan Moore, I think. And it was the whole thing was basically a parody of the early Silver Age Marvel comics, specifically from 1963-ish, with a USA Ultimate Special Agent who is a copy, both a Nick Fury agent of Shield and Captain America together, and then this other character. It doesn't matter. It has some nice artwork, and they are sure a lot of fun to read. All of those stories. And here we have Hanna-Barbera's, must be about 75-ish, I think. 78, okay. From Marvel Comics, Hanna-Barbera's The Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera TV Stars. It's a superhero special. This is issue number 3. They did, I don't know how many issues, not that many. And this one features super types, has the Herculoids, Dino Mutt with the Blue Falcon, except the Blue Falcon is barely in this issue, and of course Space Ghost. And this is an Alex Toth cover, and he did the Space Ghost story in here with some really great artwork there. And this was Dave Stevens, fan favorite Dave Stevens, was part of the art team on the Herculoids story. And then the totally silly Dynamite story with Paul Norris. All great artists who I have talked about before here. Then we have the all-new Hanna-Barbera's Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? #1 in really, really rough shape. This is from Charlton Comics. I think Gold Key had previously done some Scooby-Doo. I'm not positive. Could have been a different publisher. And this is... See, what year was this? Ouch. This was really a late comer, 75. So it was well after. And of course, there are no credits at all in here. So I have no idea who the writer was, but I do believe the artist, or at least the inker, but I think he did all of the art, was by Pat Boyette. It's possible he wrote them as well, because he is known an accomplished writer as well. And I just see little traits in here that make me think of Pat Boyette. And unfortunately, this book is not complete. It has stuff cut out, and plus a page that is kind of torn up. And but it's still a nifty read. And then to compare it with a more recent from 2011, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? #9. And I think actually this was the main book that I did my episode on, and then I just barely showed this. But it's all good Scooby-Doo fun if you happen to be a Scooby-Doo fan. Then we have Captain Justice, issues 1 and 2. It was a 2-issue miniseries, microseries, adapting the original episode of the very short-lived TV series Once a Hero. And this was done... J.D. Mateus wrote the adaptation, and it was all the art duties was done by Steve Leialoha. And again, a fun and rare read. Then here we have A to Z. This is premiere issue. This is the first issue. I think they had a total of 3 issues, I think, and I've got at least one, if not two of the others. This is a religious comic. I just recently did talked about the Chick religious books comics, and this is a far cry from Chick Comics. This is a much better, much more fun to read. The title is A to Z, which I think is playing on the Alpha and the Omega, and it features the work of a whole host of well-established and professional comics creators. And it is an anthology book, each with several short stories. Some of them are serialized or series into the other issues, and this is like I said, I showed you the the Chick comics, and this is a vastly superior on everything except the art. I mean, all the art in here and in the Chick comic is great. The writing really sucked in the other one. This is some nice, and it's not so pretty. It's got religious stuff in it, but it's a much better read. Everything is much better. And it says on top, recommended for adult and older teenage readers. And this is from 90. What year was this? Yeah, 1990. Then we go to something completely different. The Vault of Doom Nation, #1 from B Movie Comics. Is very rough. It's got water damage. This is from 1986. B Movie Comics was a very small and very short-lived publisher, and they did stuff that was done pretty much in homage to the B movies and movie serials from the 30s and 40s. You can really see here in this ad for another character, another book, Reactoman, the Human Dynamo. But this one is a horror anthology, which I went in detail with. Actually, I think it was from Halloween last year. And then we finish up with Deluxe Comics, Wally Wood's Thunder Agents #2. This is from 1986, I think it was. 85. And this is all done by established. This is not no fly by night, but Deluxe Comics didn't last very long. And I had just a few issues of the Thunder Agents, and Thunder Agents have been bopping through the comics world from various publishers ever since the Thunder Agents ceased publication in the 60s. If the Raven has, and artists, established artists and writers, where is it? Must be here. I missed it. Anyway, Dave Cockrum. There it is. George Perez, Bill Ray, Dan Thomas, writers, and Keith Giffen. And here we have Dave Cockrum and Murphy Anderson with David Singer and Steve Englehart. So all well-known, well-established creators. So that is what I've got to share with you this time around. Just some fun old books, and just another glimpse at some stuff that we have seen here before. So that's all I have to share with you. Thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments down below. And remember, if you want to any of these struck your fancy, you can go back in my catalog and check out them in more detail. So thank you, and remember, comics are art.